Hello everyone. How are you doing today? Well, today we have quite an interesting topic, advanced project management language, and I welcome you to this channel. So, what exactly are you going to learn today? We will learn how to communicate confidently in senior IT project management contexts. We will learn 12 key vocabulary words with phonetics, some grammar, nominalization, passive voice, complex noun phrases, and how to write a steering comedy update and escalate issues with precision. Як завжди, невеличка ремарочка, що ви можете знайти цей воркшіт та набагато більше освітнього корисного контенту в нашому телеграм-каналі, де цю інстанс або відсканувати ось цей QR-кодик. Так, let's go. So let's start with some core vocabulary. The first one is a program. Program that's a group of related projects managed together to achieve a strategic outcome. And the digital transformation program consists of 7 work streams running in parallel. The next one is portfolio. So portfolio is the full collection of programs and projects managed by an organization. The PMO oversees a portfolio of 24 active initiatives across 5 business units. Then the next one, governance. Governance, that's a framework of roles and responsibilities for managing decisions and accountability. So without clear governance, no one else has the authority to approve a scope change. Steering committee. Steering committee, that's a senior group that provides direction, approvals, and oversight for a program or project. And the steering committee meets monthly to review progress and resolve escalations and escalation path. What exactly is the escalation path? That's the defined route for raising issues to a higher level of authority when they cannot be resolved. The escalation path goes from project manager, program director, steering committee, and then dependency. The next one is dependency, not the last one, I'm sorry. So dependency, that's a task, resource, or decision that another task relies on before it can proceed. We have a hard dependency on the vendor's API being ready before we can begin integration testing. Critical path. The sequence of tasks that determines the minimum time needed to complete a project. Any delay on the critical path delays the entire project. There is no float. Baseline, the approved plan. For example, scope, schedule, cost, against which actual progress is measured. We are tracking against the baseline agreed at project kickoff in January. Right. Variance. The difference between the planned baseline and the actual outcome. There is a 2-week variance on workstream 3 due to a resourcing issue. Sign off. Formal approval from an authorized person or body. We need sign off from the steering committee before we can proceed to phase 2. Reg status. Red, amber, green, a color-coded system showing overall project health. The migration workstream is currently amber reg status due to dependency risk. And program director. Who is a program director? That's the senior leader responsible for the overall delivery of a program. The program director escalated the budget variance to the CFO before the steering committee met. And here is a little pro tip for you. In IT project management, precision in status reporting is a leadership skill. When you're presenting to a steering committee, try to always follow the structure, status, issue, impact, recommendation. Never present a problem without a proposed solution. Senior stakeholders expect you to have already thought through the options. Your job is to help them make a decision, not to hand them a problem. And let's go for some grammar, nominalization, passive, complex noun phrases. What exactly do we have? What exactly is nominalization? I suppose let me actually make it a bit bigger. Yeah, zoom in for a bit. So, nominalization, what exactly is that? That's when we convert verbs actions into nouns, into items or the names for the processes. And why do we do it? To be more formal. For example, delay, it is still delay. Yep, nothing changes with it. But decide becomes decision. Escalate becomes escalation. Implement becomes the implementation. Review becomes the review of progress, because review also stays the same, the review. Delay also stays the same, the delay. But words like decide, escalate, implement, they have their own noun forms. What about passive voice? Passive voice is used extensively in status reports. So, for example, the baseline was agreed in January. Sounds wonderful. Phase 2 has been approved by the steering committee. Sounds wonderful. The dependency has been flagged to the program director. Yeah. A 2-week variance has been identified in workstream 3. Yep. Why exactly do we use passive voice? As always, when we want to focus on the action itself, not on the actor, not on the person who is completing the action. And when it comes to complex noun phrases, what exactly is it about? When we need to pack information efficiently. When we do not want to make complex, long sentences. When we do not want to create tons of smaller sentences. We can just, as far as we can, we could try complex noun phrases. For example, a 2-week schedule variance on the critical path. Yeah, schedule variance on the critical path. That's a noun phrase. You can actually use nominalization to make your noun phrases. The sign off of the phase 2 business case. The escalation path to the steering committee. The program level dependency on vendor API readiness. Yep, those all are complex noun phrases. What about some key phrases for PM communication? Let's start with status reporting. We are tracking against the current rack status is a variance of X has been identified in workstream X is on track or is at risk or delayed due to escalating the issue. I'd like to escalate. This is impacting the critical path because the escalation path here is, the proposed solution is, and we need a decision by a certain date. How to request approval? We seek sign off on. The recommendation is to. Approval is required by a certain date in order to. The options available are something something, and my recommendation is option X. Here is a little model committee update. Let's actually read and analyze it. So, good morning. I'd like to give a brief program update before we move to the agenda items requiring your decision. Overall, the program is amber rack status this month. The majority of work streams are on track against the baseline agreed in January. However, a 2-week variance has been identified in workstream 3, the data migration workstream. Due to a dependency on the vendor's environment being ready, this dependency has been escalated to the vendor's program director, and a resolution is expected by Friday. The impact of this variance is limited to workstream 3 at this stage. It does not yet affect the critical path. However, if the vendor dependency is not resolved by Friday, the go-live date will be at risk. I'm therefore seeking the steering committee's approval for a contingency of 2 additional weeks in the program schedule. The business case for this contingency has been circulated in advance. Your sign-off today will allow us to proceed without delay if the risk materializes. I'm happy to take questions before we move to the vote. Let's notice some things. So we have status, issue, impact, recommendation structure. We follow it precisely. We have nominalization throughout, the identification of overrides, the resolution, the approval. We have passive voice. Has been, we have passive voice. Has been identified, has been escalated, has been circulated. We have complex noun phrases, a two-week variance on the data migration workstream, and we seek a decision with clear deadline and consequence. Here are some common mistakes that we need to watch out for. So, it is wrong to say there is a delay because the vendor is not ready. It is not precise enough. It doesn't have the needed register, so it would be better to nominalize it, make it more precise, and use passive. A two-week variance has been identified due to event dependency. Why not? We have a problem with workstream 3. We cannot really understand what is the cause of the sentence and what is the status. So it would be better to say workstream 3 is currently amber reg status due to independency risk. I think we should get approval before we continue. It is not formal enough. You need to make it more formal in a formal register. I mean, it could be a possible option if you talk, for example, to your colleague, not a board of directors. Steering committee sign-off is required before phase 2 can proceed. Or not. The critical path will be affected if this happens. If the dependency is not resolved by Friday, the go-live date will be at risk. It would be better if we specify the trigger, the consequence, and the deadline in the first sentence. Program and program are the same. Not exactly. Program with two M and E in the end. First of all, it comes from French, of course. Like most likely, if you see the E in the end of the word, most likely it comes from French language. So it is a British term, and that's a group of related projects. And program, that's a software, and it works all over the world. Yeah. And here's a little task. Pause the video, take 20 seconds. I'm giving you 20 seconds. Take all the necessary time you need, and we will check it, okay? Well, let's go. So, the team decided to extend the deadline. The decision to extend the deadline, the vendor delayed the delivery. The delay in delivery. We implemented the new governance framework. The implementation of the new governance framework. The steering committee approved phase 2. The approval of phase 2. We escalated the dependency issue. The escalation of the dependency issue. Yeah? Let's go for a little speaking challenge. Could you please use this template and prepare a 90-second steering committee update? A really short one. You can talk about a current project, or you can make one up. Why not? And a little question that I have for you. Could you please think of a project or program that you're currently working on, or maybe you have worked on, or of course, you can make one up if you're not comfortable with talking about things you work on the internet. So, could you write 3-4 sentences in the comments in a style of a steering committee status update using reg status and at least one nominalized form and at least one passive structure. So basically, you can actually use this format, yeah, this template, but you don't really have to. And when it comes to workbook, you guys, I'm not showing you workbook in here because why? Because as always, you can find it in our Telegram channel. There's 13 stands or scan the QR code and you will be able to get it there. Well, in any case, thank you so much, guys. I'm hoping to see you next time. Stay safe and take care.